I imagine.
You know who else who also did a large liquidity providing on the proof of work network is the Hedron deployer address. It went ahead and deployed 5 million hex and what was it? 32 billion Hedron, something like that. I'm just kind of pulling. I'm gonna have to pull up.
Hedron deployer address provided liquidity for pairs on POW. That's what you're saying?
Yes, I've got it right here. Hold on. Let me.
It's kind of imaginary liquidity.
Yeah.
Like
true.
The only liquidity that's actually exitable through
50 billion
matters the most would be actually ETH coin itself, right? So Alex did that with free money, like free coins, right? He's got that hex in there. He's got that Hedron, and now you can swap between the two. But that doesn't necessarily mean like that's extractable value or anything from the chain. You would have to have ETH coins, which likely to get a good, any sum of them, you would have to either, well, the liquidity is so thin, you would just have to buy some fresh off an exchange and bring it in and then pair Hedron or Hex to it. Right now, you actually have some real, like, tangible liquidity on the chain.
Yeah, well, you got to have liquidity in order to do any trades in the first place, right? So going in and creating liquidity pools is making that happen. I noticed right away that there was pretty much zero liquidity on Icosa on proof of work, right? And so you couldn't even trade it, right? So it's just it's another one of those examples of if you're a benevolent actor in a different universe, you may do certain things to help out that universe, right? That you're not going to just completely ignore it, knowing that you may have potential people that want to be interacting with your protocol, right? Especially when you see, somebody like Alex who got that front end up and running incredibly quick, and you now can use, your Icosa, your Hedron, and your native hex stakes on his front end. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I watched Dipcatcher set that up live on his live stream, and he got that set up first. I think he was the first one to do it.
You want to hear something mind-blowing?
Yeah.
It appears that some sacrifice addresses may have had a bunch of ETH and USDC and stuff, right? Those copy over. They're free coins. Mm-hmm. If Richard so chose, he could take his free copies, millions of, ETH or millions of mega millions of copied over USDC, and just add liquidity over there, and it doesn't cost him a dime. Alternatively, he could do nothing at all. Or he could take his free copies and say, F y'all, and then like swap it for ETH, or it's already ETH, and then send it to an exchange and cash out and buy some Louis Vuitton. Right? But like he's doing nothing at the moment. It's really interesting. If he makes some sort of move, it'll really get the buzz going in the community. People will start going nuts, like, "Oh my gosh, look what the OA just did."
Yeah, I don't think we'd see that. I don't think we'd see it anytime soon. I think it literally he'd have to see some other major players tip the hat. Okay, we're going to participate and things like that before he would be like, "All right, we're doing this." But that would be crazy.
But that's a way for him to also allow his community to extract value, right? If he wanted, hey guys, like, I'm going to be nice to y'all. I'm going to use my free copies and put them up as liquidity. Do what you want to do with Hex over there, right? And then as a community, we can either buy and sell it, and there's thick liquidity, or we can all choose. We're all just gonna dump and abandon that chain, but at least we leave there with some ETH, which we can circle back in and around into the ETH, the hex on the ETH chain, right? And Richard could literally do that for free for us and help his own ecosystem.
What do you think the pairings would be? Like if he were to create a liquidity pairings over on that network, what would that be? Hex with what?
It would just be Hex, which he has a shitload of, right? And ETH because his ETH that he holds also copies over. You have to know that, and it copies over as ETH.
Absolutely.
So he just needs to add to that pool that's only got like 16,000 worth in there. Mm-hmm. You just got to add to that, and next thing you know, there's like millions in there, right?
The interesting thing is going to be is going to see, you know, when you look back at the other forks that happened. I brought up Ethereum Classic, and you could also look at, you know, all the forks from Bitcoin as well. But in particular with Ethereum Classic, like you see this example of a community trying to hold it together, right? Like with like duct tape and hopes and dreams. And you see it have value, but it just kind of bleeds over time, right? It just kind of bleeds out. Like if I were to really be pessimistic, I would say, you know, we could see something similar where it doesn't matter what the liquidity is that gets put up, because if it's paired with that ETH that's just bleeding out over time, that's going to be nothing but like a reverse Hart's law effect, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't think anybody here has any hopium or expectations of anything Richard might or might not do. And actually, as a community, you know, there's other ways for liquidity providing too, you know, with Uniswap v3 and stuff like that. There's all sorts of things that I think at least a handful of people in the X community will do.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what is done just in general. Like, it just feels like exciting times. No matter how you look at it, like we're going to see a lot of things get played out that we didn't think we would see until something like PulseChain launching. You know?
Right.
Not a bad test run as far as seeing what happens during a fork. So this could prepare projects for the upcoming PulseChain fork as well. You know, projects that are launching, and Richard, and he might have learned something through this process too. Oh, I'm going to do this to make sure things go smoother. That's a positive.